Joining us now with more, Fox News contributor Trey Gowdy. Trey, you were in Congress long enough to not like it very well. You're back home in South Carolina. But what we're seeing all across the country is some very heavy-handed policies being passed out at the local level by governors and county commissions and mayors. Is this a threat to the long-term life and liberty of the United States and its people?
Well, first of all, Governor, it's great to be with you. Yeah, there has to be a rationality. Anytime government asks the citizenry to do something, there has to be a rational basis for it. And the greater the freedom you infringe, the more compelling the reason has to be. So if I'm going to imprison you or fine you for not wearing a mask, why can't I hold you down and vaccinate you against the flu this fall? I mean, you don't want the flu and COVID-19, so can I involuntarily vaccinate you? Can I show up at your house and make sure you're doing your burpees and your planks and your jumping jacks, because obesity and COVID-19 don't go well together? Where does it stop? And in Houston, Governor, if you can believe this, they're threatening to punish people for not wearing a mask. Meanwhile, in Washington State, they're going to let a serial killer. They're one vote away from letting a serial killer out because of COVID-19. So you go to jail for not wearing a mask, but if you kill 4 dozen women because of COVID-19, we might let you out. That is irrational.
You were in the Justice Department as a federal prosecutor prior to going to Congress, so you understand the Justice Department. You also understand the power of the federal government and what they can do. But the federal government can also defend civil liberties if they want to, and right now, Attorney General Bill Barr seems to be indicating that he's willing to stand up for citizens to make sure that constitutional rights don't get trampled on. What do you think is going to happen out of that?
Well, I think we're really lucky. We have a real lawyer as the AG. I mean, he is a real lawyer. So he understands that for government to be able to impinge on a freedom or infringe on a freedom, there has to be a rational basis and sometimes a compelling reason. So if I'm going to tell you, Governor, that you can't go visit your mom, that's a fundamental right that you have. So the reason I offer to keep you from doing that has to be incredibly compelling. It has to be more than just the governor of Michigan thinks it's a good idea. If I tell you that you have to wear something in public, there has to be a rational basis for that. So Barr is smart enough to know that, and he'll put the power of the federal government and grants for those states and municipalities that don't want to go along with the power of the purse and the power to go to court.
Congressman Gowdy, we've seen some pretty crazy stuff, like in Michigan. The governor says you can't mow your lawn. I'm having a hard time understanding how mowing a lawn is going to make me more subject to getting the COVID-19 virus.
Yeah, it is the responsibility. You were the governor of a great state, Arkansas. She's the governor of a great state. It is her job to persuade her citizenry that what she's telling them they cannot do is somehow rationally rooted in public health. So good luck convincing anyone that mowing your front lawn is going to make you more susceptible to COVID-19. Look, I get encouraging people not to go see those that are vulnerable. But asking me not to go see my mom is very different from telling me that I am forbidden on penalty of law from going to see my mom. And that's what has the protesters and I'm not a protester, but I want government to explain to me, if I'm going to infringe on your freedom, it's for a compelling reason. Americans are sacrificial, Governor. You know that. They're sacrificial. But yes, it's not too much to ask, why are you making me do that? And is it rooted in some rationality that is connected with what we're trying to prevent? And if it's not, then we have this thing called civil disobedience, and people can engage in it.
And I think that's what we're seeing, Congressman. There are a lot of people who are ready to engage in it. They're not unreasonable. And I appreciate your saying that, because the protesters aren't all just a bunch of crazies. These are people who fundamentally know what their basic rights are. Congressman Trey Gowdy, so glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Delighted to see you.